It's easy to take the ground beneath our feet for granted. It feels solid, stable, permanent, but right now you're hurtling through space at an unbelievable speed. Our planet completes a full spin on its axis every 24 hours, a motion so constant we don't even feel it. If you're near the equator, that translates to a speed of over 1,600 kilometers per hour, or 1,000 miles per hour. Everything around us, the air we breathe, the oceans, the buildings we're in, is moving right along with us in a perfectly synchronized cosmic dance. But what would happen if the music suddenly stopped? What if for just 5 seconds the Earth slammed on the brakes? It's a thought experiment that quickly spirals from physics into planetary annihilation. Forget what you've seen in sci-fi movies. The reality is more terrifying than you can imagine. We're going to break down, second by catastrophic second, exactly what would happen if our world suddenly stood still. Before we start our 5-second timer, we need to talk about one simple, fundamental principle: inertia. You know Newton's first law of motion, even if you don't know you know it. An object in motion stays in motion unless something stops it. Think about being in a car that brakes suddenly. Your body lurches forward because your inertia keeps you moving in the direction the car was going. Now, let's scale that up to a planetary level. If the solid rock of the Earth were to instantly stop, everything not welded to bedrock would keep going at its original speed of up to 1,600 kilometers per hour. That includes the oceans, the atmosphere, every tree, every building, and every single living thing. The stage is set for a cataclysm of truly biblical proportions. The clock starts now. The instant the Earth stops, inertia unleashes hell. Everything on the surface is violently flung eastward. People, cars, and animals are launched sideways at supersonic speeds. But the real destruction comes from our own creations and the planet's geology. Entire cities would be sheared from their foundations. Skyscrapers and bridges would be ripped from the ground, tumbling across the landscape and shattering into a storm of lethal projectiles. At the same time, the topsoil, sand, and loose rock, everything that makes up the surface of our world, would be scoured clean, as if a giant, invisible blade was scraping the planet down to the bone. All of humanity's creations, every forest and every mountain peak would be pulverized in less than a second. But the most devastating force in this first second is the atmosphere. It also has inertia and continues to sweep across the now stationary planet at over 1,600 kilometers per hour. This isn't just wind, it's a global shockwave moving faster than sound. These winds would be more than 3 times stronger than the most powerful F5 tornadoes ever recorded, capable of tearing apart not just buildings, but the Earth's crust itself. The friction from this supersonic wind would generate unimaginable heat, igniting a global firestorm that would incinerate the debris field that was once our civilization. As the second tick begins, a new horror starts. The Earth's rotation creates a centrifugal force that makes our planet bulge at the equator. This bulge holds a massive amount of the planet's ocean water, creating a bulge about 8 kilometers or 5 miles high. When the Earth stops spinning, that centrifugal force vanishes. Gravity takes over. That colossal bulge of water is suddenly released and begins surging toward the poles, where gravity is now the strongest force. We're not talking about a tsunami as we know it. This is the moving at once. A wall of water, thousands of feet high, begins a catastrophic journey across the continents, obliterating anything the initial blast didn't already pulverize. Coastal cities and inland regions alike would be buried under this global mega-tsunami. For a moment, the world's oceans would consolidate into 2 massive polar oceans, leaving a brand new continent exposed around the planet's midsection. The chaos in the oceans would be unimaginable. The surface would essentially cease to exist, atomized into a thick, turbulent fog of spray and air by the still raging supersonic winds. The friction would heat the water, triggering worldwide thunderstorms of a violence we have never witnessed. As the 3rd and 4th seconds tick by, the apocalypse goes from a surface event to a geological one. The sudden stop would put an unbearable amount of stress on the Earth's crust. The lithosphere, the rigid outer part of the Earth, is used to the forces of a spinning planet. To have that force disappear in an instant would be like hitting a celestial brake pedal. The shift in momentum would trigger earthquakes of a magnitude that would make our current scales meaningless. These wouldn't be localized tremors. They would be planet-wide convulsions as tectonic plates, each carrying the momentum of a continent, slam into one another. The crust would fracture and rupture on a global scale. This massive geological stress would also awaken nearly every dormant volcano. Magma from the mantle would be violently forced to the surface, causing eruptions that would dwarf anything in recorded history. The air, already a toxic inferno of dust and superheated gas, would be further choked with volcanic ash and sulfur, blotting out the sun and plunging the world into a murky, suffocating twilight. The planet itself would be breaking apart from the inside out. As our 5-second timer expires, we are left with a planet that is utterly and irrevocably destroyed. The surface has been scoured clean of life, civilization, and topsoil, burned by friction, and then drowned by a world-altering tsunami. The crust is shattered, and the sky is a toxic brew of ash and superheated air. Billions of people would be gone. Any potential survivors would likely be in deep underground bunkers or research stations at the poles, where the rotational speed is almost zero. But the horror isn't over. The prompt says the Earth stops for 5 seconds, which implies it then starts again. That restart would be just as catastrophic as the stop. As the planet lurched back into its 1,600 kilometers per hour spin, everything would be thrown violently in the opposite direction. The oceans, which had surged to the poles, would rush back toward the equator, unleashing a second global tsunami. This whiplash would compound the destruction, grinding the rubble of our world into dust. So, could this ever really happen? The good news is no. There's no known physical mechanism that could make the Earth suddenly stop spinning. The amount of energy required would be astronomical, comparable to a planet-sized object crashing into us. The Moon's tidal forces are gradually slowing our planet's rotation, but this process is incredibly slow, adding only about 1.7 milliseconds to our day every century. Earth will keep spinning for billions of years, likely until the sun expands into a red giant and engulfs our solar system. So while our 5-second apocalypse is pure speculation, it's a powerful reminder. We live on a dynamic world, governed by immense and ancient forces. The quiet rotation of the Earth is the engine of our climate, our geography, and our very existence. It's the silent, perpetual motion that makes our planet a home, not a hellscape. And the next time you watch a sunrise, maybe take a moment to appreciate the colossal yet graceful dance of the planet beneath your feet. This apocalyptic scenario, while fun to think about, really highlights the incredibly delicate balance of forces that makes life on Earth possible. The constant, silent spin of our planet is a guardian, protecting us from chaos we can barely imagine. What did you like the most about this video? Let us know in the comments. If you love exploring the biggest what-ifs in science, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the impossible.